Hey y'all, welcome back. My name is Dee, and this is Dee's Bookish Musings, where I'm sharing my love for reading at my own pace. If you are new here, I read all variety of genres, my favorite being historical fiction and also nonfiction. Although I don't read a lot of it, I did start out with nonfiction and I still love it. Need to get back to it. I'm starting to get more into my literary fiction this year. And then I dibble and dabble in a little bit of romance. My favorite romance author being Beverly Jenkins, and also thrillers every now and then. So, romance and thrillers I read when I need a good palate cleanser after I have read more heavier books. Okay, so if that sounds interesting to you, I do invite you to subscribe down below. I would love to see you back here on the channel. So, let's go ahead and talk about what's in this video. So, if you have been watching my videos, you know or may have heard me talk about a series or interest where I would compare a classic against the black retelling. And since I never did that video, all talk last year, because I was distracted, just I don't know, not being very intentional. And this year, I really want to be intentional with not only the books that I'm reading, but also the videos that I want to put out there. And this is definitely a video that I've always wanted to do when I thought about the idea. So I will be comparing and contrasting the classic, which is usually a non-black characters, to its black retelling, okay, with all black characters. And so I will be showing you three sets of books, the original or classic and its black retelling. These two books are sort of like, I don't want to say dark romance, but romance with a twist. Original Penguin Classic. And look at this book, y'all. At first, I did not like these books because they were just too basic. But then as time went on, I started to look at the Penguin Classics, the Black Spine, with a new appreciation. I love the simplicity of the book. Am I the only one? Yeah, love the original. I think when I buy a classic, I'm going to go for this Black Spine book. This is by Coderlos de Leclos. Please forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, as I don't speak the language from which this was translated from, okay? So that's the author, and the book is called Dangerous Liaisons. So its black retelling is Unforgivable Love by Sophronia Scott, okay? So I'm going to read the back of the book of the classic, and then I'll read the back of the other book. Okay, so it says, who would not tremble to think of the ills that may be caused by one dangerous liaison? For the Marquis de Mertiel and the Vicomte de Valmont, seduction is a game. The former lovers relish manipulating others to bring amusement to their jaded existence, while Valmont is determined to succeed in his conquest of a virtuous married woman. Martial challenges him to seduce an innocent convent girl who is to be married to her former lover. As their intrigues become increasingly duplicitous and they find their human pawns responding in ways they could have not predicted, the consequences prove to be more serious and deadly than the two conspirators could have guessed. And that's all I'm going to read. I'm not going to read all about the books. I like to go into my books sort of blind, but knowing a little bit about them. All right, so Unforgivable Love by Sophronia Scott says, in this vivid reimagining of the French classic, Les Liaisons Dangereuses, it's summer Jackie Robinson breaks baseball's color barrier, and a sweltering heat has Harlem's elite fleeing to the city for breezier Westchester County. Two schemers prowl the manicured gardens and find old homes. Heiress May Malveaux rules society with an angel smile and a heart of stone, attracting men like moths to a flame. To have the pleasures she craves, strict control of their suitors is paramount. Valiant Jackson has wanted May for years. The doors open for him when May strikes a bargain, seduce Virgil's young Cicely, engaged to May's ex-lover Frank Washington, who values Cicely's innocence above all else. If successful, Val's reward may be a night with May. So as you can see, the two books are about a plot of a dangerous love game that they're playing with someone else, right? Who's been promised to another. Okay, so that sounds very interesting. I cannot wait to read these two books. and just compare and contrast the two. I will be reading these very soon, probably next month. Okay, so the next two books are going to be The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain and James by Percival Everett, the Black version. So let's talk about The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and read what this book is about. When James first came out, I did try to read Huckleberry Finn because I thought it would be beneficial for me to do so, but I could not get through the book because I got distracted and put it down. So it says a 19th century boy from a Mississippi River town recounts his adventures as he travels down the river with a runaway slave, encounter a family involved in a feud, two scoundrels pretending to be royalty, and Tom Sawyer's aunt who mistakes him for Tom. Okay, so that doesn't really sound like much, but we know that he's going to be on this adventure with a runaway slave and something happens. That's all I can get from this book. So this book is 327 pages, and we'll probably check that one out at the library or try to get it by audio. All right, so let's talk about James. Let me read the sleeve of this book. So it says, when Jim overhears that he is about to be sold to a man in New Orleans, separated from his wife and daughter forever, he runs away until he can formulate a plan. Meanwhile, Huck has faked his own death to escape his violent father. As all readers of American literature know, thus begins the dangerous and transcendent journey by raft down the Mississippi River toward the elusive and reliable or unreliable promise of the free states and beyond. So, this is the Black retelling of the adventures of Huckleberry Finn, whereas Huckleberry Finn, the original, the center was, of course, on Tom. But this retelling is going to be centered around the enslaved Jim and his adventures as he is trying to run away himself to try to keep his family, wife and son, together. So that sounds really good. So this one was going to be a read anyway this year, 2026 anyway. So now I'm looking forward to reading both of them so I can do a compare and contrast. All right, so the next two books are going to be The Great Gatsby by Scott Fitzgerald. Never read this book. I don't even remember this being required reading for me when I was in high school. But let's talk about what this one is about. I probably will check this one out at the library when it becomes available. I think I've already put it on hold because guess what? This book was written, I think, in the 20s, 1925, and it is very popular. I can't even get the physical or the audio copy. It's several people are ahead of me. Um, so let's read what this one is about. So this says it's the story of the mysteriously wealthy Jay Gatsby and his love for the beautiful Daisy Buchanan, a lavish parties on Long Island at a time when the New York Times gin was the national drink and sex, the national obsession, is the exquisitely crafted tale of America in the 1920s. So that doesn't really say too much, but it looks like the 20s, the Gilded Age. So I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this one as well. So its Black retelling is The Great Man by Kyra Davis Lurie. I'm looking down because I'm looking at a computer. Okay, so this one came out in 2025. I haven't heard a whole lot of people talking about this book, a few people here and there. And for the most part, I heard it was a good book. So it says, in this poignant retelling of The Great Gatsby set amongst LA's Black elite, a young veteran finds his way post war, pulled into a new world of tantalizing possibilities and explosive tensions. In 1945, Charlie Trammell steps off a cross country train into a vibrant tapestry of Los Angeles, lured by his cousin Marguerite's invitation to the esteemed West Adam Heights. Charlie is immediately captivated by the black opulence of LA's new rechristened Sugar Hill. Instead of like wealthy white people in the story, they're going to be wealthy black people. So it looks like this world is going to be eye opening to the main character as far as, seeing black people with money, some status in Los Angeles versus New York, which is the setting in Great Gatsby. So those are the classic novels in its Black retelling. I am going to start with, like I said, this book here, reading the classic Dangerous Liaisons book, and then Unforgivable Love by Sophronia Scott. Probably I'm going to start reading these books in February. They are big books, y'all. This one is 400 pages, and this one is 500 pages. But based on the plot, it seems like these two books are going to be easy to get through or page turners. So I'm going to read them in February because it does have a plot surrounded by love, even though it's manipulative and dark. It seems like it's going to be fun. So I'm going to start reading these in February. And then I'm going to come back and give you a review. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. I will see you in the next video. Let me know if you've read any of these books I have shown and what were your general thoughts about them.